Hey everybody, this is Dust for Dusted on Gaming. This morning with a little bit of Standard. Normally, obviously, I don't stream in the mornings, but this is one of my days off, so... Played quite a bit of Modern yesterday afternoon. We played Bourbon Fox's Grixis List again. We played a little bit more of Foz's Blue-Black Taking Turns deck. So, here it was time to get back working on some Standard decks. This particular list is by Sideboard MTG, which is another YouTuber that you've probably heard me mention. If you listen to the stream at all, you've heard me mention several times. He's a very avid Standard player, and he very much likes Nicol Bolas. And this deck is a little bit different than the two Nicol Bolas decks we've already covered on the channel. The first one obviously being the Bolas Red deck that's basically blue-black, or red-black aggro, putting Nicol Bolas in the deck. And Todd Stevens' kind of Grixis control list. This deck's a little more mid-range. He has the deck tech below. I have the deck tech link below, so I'm not going to go too much into detail of specific card choices and why this and why that and anything else. Main difference between his and Todd's lists is Todd obviously removed the Glint Sleeve Siphoners and went with the all-kill spell list. This list had a couple Essence Scatters, which remains to be seen. I've had a friend of mine who was playing blue-black mid-range a little bit at the local store was kind of, commenting about how awkward Essence Scatter is in conjunction with like Glint Sleeve Siphoners and other plays. So we'll see. Keep an eye on that. Beyond that, notable, you have a couple Whirler Virtuosos here to protect your Planeswalkers. 3 Nicol Bolas, couple Scarab Gods, Torrential Gearhulk, a lot of kill spells. Obviously, the sideboard, you have your usual anti-control hate with negates and duresses. You have more customizable removal with Chandra's Defeats and the other braids, couple Gifted Aetherborns for the aggro matchups, and 1 Urgle's Bloodfast for grindier matchups. And then Crook of Condemnation for graveyard-based decks like other Torrential Gearhulk decks, trying to search for his Kanta from flipping. Also, something like God Pharaoh's Gift decks if they're still floating around. So, it's pretty much the deck tech. We're going to try to run it through a league, see how that goes. Going to try to start playing some more leagues, especially in Standard, especially on days off, because they are a little... Standard leagues tend to be a little more time consuming, especially when you're not playing the mono red burn deck that we played the other day that went like an hour and a half in a league. And like 30 minutes of that was one match, but but definitely going to run this deck through a league, see how it does. I'm not quite sure which version of Grixis Midrange, Grixis Control, Grixis Aggro I like in Standard. I think they all have their benefits and detractors in certain matchups that they're good and bad in. But obviously Bolas is a very strong card in Standard, although from what I've been hearing from local results, red-black aggro is still the top, kind of the top dog in Standard right now, even though other decks are pushing it a little bit. Alright, so kind of an awkward mana hand, but I think we keep it. Not a huge fan of Ether Hubs and decks like this without other ways to generate energy. I think I'd rather have the slightly more tappy land base than have my one mana be one shot most of the time. At least this will allow us to have Essence Scatter up on 2, so there won't be too much of a decision point as to whether we're playing like Essence Scatter or Glint Sleeve Siphoner, unless we happen to draw one in our one draw step. Well, this is not the hand to get paired against mono red, doesn't look like. One of the risks of playing control and mid-range in this format is just getting glutted with the 4 mana cards against the aggro decks. I know as Esper as an Esper control player, I've run into that problem on occasion, so. Alright, at least we hit a land drop. It's possible our opponent has like unlicensed disintegration or something here. Maybe it's just correct to hold up contempt, but I think we need to get on the board against mono red. I don't know that I would really want to deploy Chandra on this board. Yep, unlicensed disintegration. Oh, discards a Hazard. That's kind of scary. Yep, Chandra. We're in trouble versus the Chandra. We're in trouble versus that Bowmat Courier. Yeah, there's no way we're coming back from this. Alright, well that was a rather quick whitewashing. Chandra's defeats, we want the Abrades, we want the Gifted Aetherborns. Cards do we not want in this matchup? Essence Scatter is probably a little too awkward. We might not want the Siphoners, or at least not all of them. Because they're just going to tend to get run over by their early stuff. No. Especially if they've got Chain Whirler in their deck. I don't want that in my deck right now. And one more cut. I'm bringing in the Bloodfast both as a supplementary source of card advantage in this matchup, and when it flips, being able to sack our creatures and gain some life. Need to cut one more card here. Maybe just a Champion of Wits. Want as many kill spells in our deck as possible. Yes, I'd like to play first. Hand's got mana and a couple early interactive plays, so I think that's reasonable against mono red. Or not mono red specifically, but alright, so which of these tap lands do I play? Because we're likely going to end up wanting to cycle one of these. So I think I play Vetted Pools because I have 2 more red sources, 2 more black sources. That gives us the best balance. Granted, I think the only double blue spell we have in our deck is Torrential Gearhulk, but I still want to set ourselves up to be able to use all of our mana as efficiently as possible. Going back to that turn where I played Nicol Bolas, it's possible I should just held up Vraska's Contempt. Felt a little awkward. You want to get to the board, but there's a good chance they were just like representing disintegration there. So another land, not precisely what we wanted here. Hold up Magma Spray. If they do nothing, we'll just cycle Canyon Slough. Guess Heart of Curon kind of counts as doing nothing. want to guarantee to resolve the Whirler Virtuoso trigger here, so our opponent can't kill it without us getting a Thopter out of it. Especially like if they have Chain Whirler here or something. Duress. Okay. I was gonna say, is what, Scrap Heap Scrounger to crew here? Champion of Witseer, get some more cycling through our deck. I'd like to use this ability, yes I would. Nicol Bolas and Chandra. Well, play the tap land out. Using Hazoret to crew the Heart of Kirin here. Gifted Aetherborn makes things a little bit awkward. Fortunately, this does risk turning on their Hazoret a little bit easier. We have another Hazoret. Next turn we get to go either Chandra or Bloodfast plus Aetherborn here. And Grath. Oof. See what our opponent has here. punish us with Unlicensed Disintegration, or are you just pitching a card? Yep. Alright. So the two play lines were play out Gifted Aetherborn, Abrade the Heart of Curon, or play out Gifted Aetherborn, play out Argyl's Bloodfast. So the reason to play out Bloodfast is you flip this, then you start able to sacking creatures, get back in life gain mode. Exactly Unlicensed Disintegration, I think, kind of punished us here. Frustrating. Decisions are made sometimes, but that is kind of frustrating. I mean, obviously, the Aetherborn Abrade playline is the more immediate impact. The Argyl's Bloodfast flips gives you a 5th land. Be able to chump block Chandra with a Whirler Virtuoso here. And, of course, the draw button's not going to work. But, yeah, just being able to get, like, Argyl's Bloodfast into play, flip it, you know, chump block with Whirler this turn. Bolus holds back most of their other creatures pretty well. Gifted Aetherborn here, start chipping in, getting some life back as well. Get Chandra into play, have a Argyl's Bloodfast activation for either a Bolus or an Aetherborn. Or just be able to Chandra plus kill Heart of Curon next turn. It's part of the reason why Red-Black's one of the more dangerous decks in the format still. It's just pressure, pressure, pressure. And that said, we still had a couple decisions that impacted the outcome of the game, but sometimes when you're playing a deck you're not terribly familiar with all the right play lines against a matchup you haven't played before. Sometimes you make the wrong ones. Game 1 we kept a kind of a slower hand, got punished. And then game 2 made a couple of play lines there that just, it happens. So, welcome to Standard, ladies and gentlemen, where Red-Black is still king. I mean, that said, this Grixis deck does have a lot of power to it. So, there's a decent chance we could have worked our way back into that game. But, Hazaret's a card. That's why Todd Stevens mentioned in his list that he plays the 6 answers to it with the 4 copies of Vraska's Contempt and the 2 copies of Commit to Memory. Plus, his list is a little more control heavy with, like, the 4 Braids in the main and Fatal Pushes and etc. So, not sure which list is actually better in the current meta. Against Mr. Crocodile. I guess we'll keep it, but this hand is a little awkward with only 2 mana plus all of our lands coming into play tapped. Alright, looks like we're up against an artifact deck. fact that that card's a 1/4 is just so obnoxious. Yeah, this is the energy build. Hopefully our opponent double blocks here. Well, it succeeded. Alright, Nicky B, time to earn your money, bud. Opponent with 4 cards is a little scary. Not sure what the right play is here. Ugh. Not the funnest situation to be in, considering we had them to 1 here. We're certainly hitting some peels. Alright, statuary isn't all that scary. European of Wits, and another Nicol Bolas. Seriously? Wowzers. It's been one of those days where our opponents just managed to rip. Aye. Our opponents have just had some good rips the last couple days. Between this and the Grixis Delver deck, it's just like my kingdom for a lightning strike at this point. Alright, let's go ahead and go to the next game. Our opponent has more than stabilized this game. Alright, so magma sprays are kind of garbage. Definitely want the duresses, definitely want some amount of negates, definitely want the abrades, probably want torrential gear hulk. This Croco Condemnation is really tempting as many commit to memories as they had, but we'll see on that one. Cards that aren't quite as good. What's up, Space Marine? Cards that aren't quite as good. A couple of Vraska's Contempts can come out. Fatal Pushes aren't great. Leave one in because Sai is such an annoyance. these Essence Scatters out, because we're not going to be able to reliably keep it up. 0-1, got smacked around by red-black, and we got our mono-blue artifacts opponent down to 1 life and then 2 life, but couldn't kill them, because they ripped Commit to Memory at exactly the right time when we were going to flip Nicol Bolas, bring back another Nicol Bolas. They had Commit to Memory into Flashback Memory, into play Psy, and like get a billion play Paradoxical Outcome, into replay a billion artifacts, into get a small army of Thopters against our board of Zombie plus Whirler Virtuoso plus Liliana. So, need to make 2 more cuts here. Maybe it's just the Fatal Pushes, because they're not great against even Psy, because you have to be able to trigger. So, I guess, I mean, feels like a repeat of the Grixis Delver League yesterday. Sure. It's interesting. I don't know. Now that people have tuned it some, it looks like it might actually be good. It's not like that goofy blue-black Tezzeret deck that we played that just felt so clunky. This one actually felt reasonably possibly. Actually, it seems to be my luck when I'm playing Walking Ballista is mildly annoying. Statuary, Paradoxical Outcome, and Prophetic Prism. These cards are all exceptionally annoying. I just take Paradoxical Outcome because it's the card that represents the most issues down the line. Not much, War Dog. How you doing? Just seems to be my luck when I play mid-range decks, period. I tend to have a very middling record with them. Another Duress. So, tap land, Duress, take your Inspiring Statuary. Don't really care about Mox Amber right now. Just expand Statuary. I'm not cursed, I'm just not the greatest mid-range player in the world. So, see if this tempts them to at least use their Ballista. Probably get rid of Ether Hub and Sulfur Falls here. Sure. This feels kind of awful, but I really can't do much else this turn because my Chandra will just pretty much die. I actually happen to watch quite a bit of Reed Duke, and I learned quite a bit watching him. The problem is, what do you have now? Oh, delightful. Another card we can't beat. almost never fails. No matter what play line you take, they seem to rip the right cards right after you tear apart their entire hand. Double commit to memory. Metal Spinner's Puzzle Lot. Alright, so basically we're dead. Because our opponent gets to commit one of our creatures' Domus for 15. They're all attacking Chandra? Okay. I am confused. I guess with double commit to memory, there's not too much you have to be afraid of from my opponent's side. Not much, Pipe Dream. How are you doing? Oh, dear. Just getting my butt kicked by the various versions of standard format. So. Actually, I should probably just play Champion of Witseer, because this Siphoner isn't going to do a ton on this board. Draw a Nicol Bolas and a Whirler Virtuoso. Dude, we're OG, don't tell us what to do, Space Marine. Alright. So, Siphoner isn't doing much on this board. Virtuoso is another 2 bodies, and Nicol Bolas represents the most upside. So, I think we pitch Bolas, try to resolve Thopter Boy, although yeah, our opponent's just sitting on 2 commit to memories. So we're not in the best of shape here, especially against this Psy. This card is such a beating if you can't kill it immediately. The fact that it's a 1/4 and 3 mana means there's so much removal that it dodges in this format. Wow, guys. Why would you commit a Champion of Wits? That's kind of a bizarre one. Oh, just a flashback with memory? Alright. This seems to be what our opponent's deck does, because they had multiple commit to memories last game, so... Just go wide with a bunch of Thopters. Oh, you guys. Alright, so... 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, let's start with Duress. Wow. So our opponent has at least 3 commit to memories in their deck. That feels kinda bad. And they can commit any card they don't want us to play here. I don't know that we have a play line that I don't know that we have a play line that gets around this, honestly. So I almost wish Bile Blight was legal right now. Bile Blight would be so nice right on this board. Oh, whoever thought I'd have so many issues with a 1/4. So, the playline I'm gonna go for, and this is a Hail Mary play, so it's gonna be awful. But I'm hoping, because our opponent's hand is so awful, that they will literally flash back that memory in their graveyard, and in response, I will attempt to consign their Sai to their hand, even though we know they have another memory in hand. Like I said, it has a snowball's chance and heck of actually working. Basically, our opponent's in an almost unlosable situation, and I'm doing a Hail Mary play to try to stay alive. Oh, Jiminy Christmas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our opponent's going to get to draw 6 cards. Go up to 9. Oh, sorry. They have 15 cards in hand now. This is how our opponent's deck wins. It just plays a boatload of artifacts and beats you down with Thopters. And actually, Pipe Dream, Todd Stevens' Grixis list also plays 2 copies. His is a more controlling version than Sideboard's. Sideboard, I think, is sticking more with the mid-range version. Todd started out with a mid-range version and worked his way to a controlling version. Like, Todd's list would have things like Hour of Devastation and Sweltering Suns. Oh, Jiminy. Okay. I think we can sufficiently say that we're dead here, so I'm going to go to the next match. Since we now know our opponent's deck is just extremely... Basically, if you can't kill the 1/4, you die. Alright, not the best start for Sideboard's list. I apologize to him for smudging his good name. Actually, yeah, zombies is a... Yeah, we were definitely being out-thoptered. But don't worry, guys. Energy was a broken mechanic, and Whirler Virtuoso was too strong. I mean, at least we got to see our opponent's deck go off. That was pretty cool. I already played zombies, and then I seem to run into... It doesn't matter. It almost doesn't matter what I play outside of Burn. Whatever I play, I run into its bad matchups. Maybe that's just a sign that I'm only supposed to play Burn. Yeah, we'll try this hand. Seems reasonable. So... Normally I would agree with you, Space Marine, but I believe it was Todd Anderson that made the comment. So Star City on occasion will run, or they'll just play like random decks from history against each other. And the only deck that Teamer Energy... Now, Teamer Energy after the bannings with... Teamer Energy after the bannings with just the Teamer Energy stock list available, not like Aetherworks Marvel and stuff. The only deck that could, from standard past, that can consistently beat Teamer Energy was Cobblade. So the deck was functionally very powerful. Vine Mirror is going to wreck us. Man, we really are playing the I'm not going to win anything stream today, aren't we? Oh. Go Blade, but I'm back. Were those good flashbacks or bad flashbacks, War Dog? Oh, jeez. Looks like we're up against Sideboard or yeah, Vinemare is destroying almost anything not named Mono Red these days. Got nothing better to do with our mana this turn. Alright, War Dog, have a good day, man. Maybe. We might be able to race them. Four, five, six, seven, eight. Hopefully I don't rip Blanchwood armor. Bolus is more useful as a 4/4 flyer right now than he is as a planeswalker. So the only reason we were winning that race is because Bolus was a 4/4 flyer. Alright. Well, there's not a single card in my deck that deals with Vinemare. Other than, I guess, theoretically, Torrential Gearhulk. Want the Gifted Aetherborns, even though they're not the best against our opponent's specific plan. Dresses aren't good, defeats aren't good, negates aren't good, Bloodfast isn't good. Well, Bloodfast might be a necessary evil, we'll see. Abrades don't kill 3/4 of their stuff. Alright, now let's take a look at the actual cards that I wouldn't want in my deck. Siphoner on the draw probably isn't all that great, so we'll probably take them out for this game. Back on the play, we might want them. Just gonna kind of hope to fade that Vinemare, or at least have Essence Scatter up for it when they do. Well, that's a pretty easy mulligan. Hand's not great, but we'll keep it. Gotta put Gearhulk to the bottom here. Turn 1 elves, they always have it. Well, at least we've confirmed they're on Dev's deck. Dev's almost post-rotation deck. Yeah, now that I saw that Hydra, it's just mono green hexproof. Yeah, it's the one that MTG Goldfish did a spotlight on the other day. Question is, do I want these Siphoners on the play or not? Every game. Alright, Jan. Hope your day gets better, man. Really want to get this Virtuoso down, but Essence Scatter kind of changed the tune. Okay. Wonder if our opponent realizes that was the bait spell. Probably did. The question is, what am I supposed to use the Gear Hulk on here? Because there's a decent chance the deck only plays some amount of Blossoming Defense, and they're representing it pretty hard here. Maybe. There's still an outside shot that can kill us if I play this wrong. Yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking if I needed to play... I'm going to end phase a Contempt here and then just eat the Ronus, or eat the Steel Leaf hit here. Because the chances that they drew back-to-back Blossoming Defenses are very limited. See if you were bluffing or if you actually had one the entire time here. Presuming you had one the entire time. Yep. The only problem with that is it doesn't... Question is, which one am I supposed to kill here? I think the steel leaf. You can't chump Steel Leaf with Aetherborn. Steel Leaf's text specifically keeps you from being able to... Steel Leaf Champion has text on it that says can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Yes, Space Marine. I've already played one version of it. So my opponent can't pump enough here to do whatever they want to do, so I'm just going to go ahead and send this Aetherborn in here, gain my 2 life. That was dumb. They could pump here and blow us out. That's exactly what they're going to do. That was a dumb attack. It was a very dumb attack. Shouldn't have attacked there. Alright. Wonder if my opponent realizes this is going to go extremely poorly for them. One, two, three, four. Okay. Sure. Alright. Well, we finally won a match. So... To be fair, Flip Bolus, our opponent's poor attack won us that game. The fact that we were able to recur Gear Hulk into Vraska's Contempt. But the discarding of Heroic Intervention into flipping Get Back Gear Hulk, yeah, it's a very powerful card. We were definitely ahead, but we want to close out the game because they do have stuff like Carnage Tyrant and Vine Mare. So, not cards we want to be messing around with. Sand seems fine. Green White Angels? Agreed. Depends on what our opponent was on, obviously. Looks like Green White Angels. It's unlikely that I'm going to want to use my blue mana on Essence Scatter here, but I'll at least give ourselves the option. Yep, looks like we're up against Green White Angels. Put both of them in the graveyard. Interesting. Really need to draw more mana here. Means he either already has one or needs mana to unlock the rest of his hand. History of Benelia. Land, please. Guessing that means they're sitting on, like, Lyra or some other equally difficult to deal with thing. Could be sitting on Nissa here. Okay. Okay. I swear my deck hates me. Actually... Oh. Daggone it. Should just play the Whirler Virtuoso. It's actually free mana-wise. target artifact, not the one target enchantment from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, no. That one's not resolving. And they have another one? Jiminy Christmas. They get to get a heck of a value here, though, because they get to return Walking Ballista and History. I'm guessing they'll pitch Walking Ballista here, because whatever their last card in hand is, they really must want it. Yep. Which means we're facing off against History of Benalia and one unknown card. Restoration Specialist, that's an interesting card. Ouch. Oh boy. You were correct. This is disgusting. I don't think it's gonna matter. Do you just catch the loop our opponent has? Do you catch the loop our opponent has? That's disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. So what is our best play against this? But he already has the loop established. Once these pop, he gets another round of History of Benalia. This is kind of insane. So I can flip Bolus or play Virtuoso and Vraska's Contempt this turn. If I flip Bolus, then I take... We're still not in good shape, because we have no way to answer all these tokens. And that Walking Ballista is threatening to get very big very quickly. So I think the line has to be play Virtuoso, Contempt the Ballista, and just hold back on defense. We'll go to 7 here. Get back Scarab God at the end of turn. What does our opponent decide to do here? Just want to thank everyone for hanging out this morning. Sorry we're not playing the most winningest of games, but we definitely gotten to see some interesting builds from our opponents. Why would you let me eat 2 knights there? That doesn't make a ton of sense. Another one? Yeah, we're just dead here. Opponent attacks, gets in with one of their creatures, and then ballistas us down. Alright. Wow. Way too many history of Benilias. Definitely want the Crook of Condemnation. Huh. I got the list, Space Marine. I'll take a look at it here in a bit. Huh. These gifted Etherborns in our deck. Yeah. Question is, what other cards are we cutting here? One of that. One's got a very weird configuration. Yeah, we'll try a 61 card deck. Yeah, I almost spaced on negate here, Kevin. Yeah, hand seems alright. Missing red mana, but at least we can go Etherborn into negate. Opponent's strategy was wondering what they were doing. Well, we found out what they were doing. The Grixis deck, or what our opponent's playing? This mana base, man. Yeah. There's a lot of things I'm finding that I prefer about the control or the red versions of these decks. But then again, my track record with these mid-range decks is horrible here. So my two different I have three different play lines here. I can Ether Hub, play Magmus Break. I was going to say, that was one of the lines. The other line is play out Field of Ruin, get a red source, Magma Spray it, or play Virtuoso and pass. But, yeah, and I just played the Field of Ruin here. Meant to play Magma Spray, or Ether Hub. We'll just pass here. No, I went like 3-1 in matches we actually finished. Wow. Opponent's just playing around everything we have. Will giving them 1 mana here matter? I don't think giving them a mana here will matter. I'm hoping to God we have a mountain in our deck. Fetid pools. The Vampire is a sideboard card, and it is sideboard MTG's choice. I think it's solid against the red aggro decks if you can let it stick on the battlefield. But it's kind of hard to reliably see what our opponent flips here. King Ballista. Looks like they're keeping Walking Ballista on top. Oh, now they put it in the graveyard. Alright. I think we want a land or a Bolus. Vraska's Contempt kind of leaves us in a weird spot. Now they're going to get to resolve history if they have one. Yep, they've been waiting for us to take down the gate mana. Okay, so you get a land back, I guess. Am I telegraphing negate that hard, or do you think some weird chance I'm being ghosted? Seal away and Renegade Rallier. Almost hesitant to play this Liliana here. Simply because it powers up their Knight of Grace. Mike, if you're still here, what do you think about Aetherborn out of the sideboard? This list is certainly... This is only match number 4, too. Oh... Opponent has lost connection to the game. Opponent has rejoined the game. Come on, opponent. There we go. Alright. Anyways. Start attacking opponent. Could try for the double block, but no reason to risk it right now. Alright, Bolus is a nice one for next turn. Feels like we're starting to pull ahead. Hopefully we'll hit a land drop next turn. Alright. The double block on that. Hoping to trigger a Renegade Rallier here. Is that what's going on? Yep. That's fine. Chandra. Does make me wonder if I'm supposed to This is game number 2 of match number 4. We lost game 1 to recurring History of Benalias with some type of dwarf artificer. No, yeah, there's a negate. We already used 1 negate in our graveyard. Right now we're 1-2. We lost to red-black, and then we lost to mono-blue artifacts going absolutely ape-crap with Psy. And then we beat mono-green hexproof. And now we're tied 1-1 against green-white night recursion? Question mark? They have some type of combo with History of Benalia, a Dwarf Artificer that brings back a enchantment and artifact from your graveyard, and a Johnny. It's a rather unique loop that allows them to basically, for every Artificer they find, loop History of Benalia. It was kind of brutal game one, to be honest. That's why the Crooked Commendations in the deck, even though it's not the best in the matchup overall, though them showing us Renegade Rallier kind of increases its usefulness. Still don't think this is a Siphoner matchup. I want to get this Bloodfast in the deck, but I don't know if it's actually worth it or not. I don't like Siphoner in matchups where you're trying to play the control deck and it doesn't match up that well with your opponent's creatures. It's possible it should be in the deck, but what am I taking out? Like, I need most of my answer cards. I need Virtuoso, Champion of Wits, Bolus, etc. What do I take out to put Sleeve back in? Whirler shuts down their knights pretty nicely. So maybe I'm not correct in leaving it in play, but it shuts down their knights pretty nicely. I think this is a hand we keep. It's been fine. It's probably just a more efficient commit to memory. We've gotten to flashback the Oblivion portion a couple times. It's been decent. I could even see wanting to play it in my Paper Esper list. Hopefully they missed a land drop here. Walking Ballista. Okay, so they're not missing a land drop. So, Magma Spray one of these puppies. Cast out? That's a weird one to get rid of. Hey, no problem. So now our opponent's hand is Walking Ballista and That's the worst they've got in this turn cycle. I think I'm very happy. Now we just gotta find the answer to their damn walking ballista. Carnage Tyrant. Glad I got rid of that one. They only had 2 cards in hand. They just drew 1. Oh yeah, next turn cycle. The problem is we gotta find an answer to this ballista. So, and Restoration Specialist is an enormous pain in the hind end. Yeah, I was thinking about upkeeping it to force them to make the decision on the cast out. Because if they tap out for cast out, then that precludes them from using Restoration Specialist's ability. And then I can contempt the Specialist and find some way to deal with the stupid ballista here. Maybe that's getting too cute. Yeah, but they can cast it in response to Bolus's trigger. They can cast the cast out again, if that makes sense. Yeah. That's why I said I was kind of hoping they'd go for the tap out play, but they saw through that, it looks like. Another land is decent. Back Walking Ballista and cast out. Yeah, I'm fine taking the ballista damage here. No. Whirler doesn't do enough on this board right now. I'm more interested in holding up Negate for this cast out. Sorcerer, Spyglass. I think I gotta... Do I have to negate this one? No, if they want to shut down Liliana, they can shut down Liliana here. Yeah, that's fine. I think I'm okay with this exchange. Knight of Grace, huh? This is going to end pretty poorly for our opponent, I think. Yep. And I'm going to hold back Bolus on this turn. Hold up Negate. Probably flip Bolus next turn. Alright, and we got there. Woo! Way that first match went out, or way the first game of the match went, I thought we were kind of boned. But, alright, 2-2. Man. That was rough. I'll be right back in 1 minute. Alright, we're back. I just had to take a quick stretch break, refocus my eyes from 2 hours plus of grinding MTG here. I want to thank everyone for hanging out today. If this is your first time to the stream, I want to say thanks for hanging out. We have a lot of standard modern content going on in the archives if you want to take a look at that. If you like what you're seeing, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I stream probably 5 to 6 times a week throughout, usually more in the afternoons than the mornings. But obviously everything gets archived here on YouTube, so there's a whole lot of different decks I play. Wow. So we're on the play. I'm pretty sure this is a mulligan. There's gotta be a mulligan, right? This hand's better, sort of. Depends on the matchup, obviously. I think I'm gonna bottom a 4th land for now. Nothing beats Scarab God, except there are some decks that can kill before turn 5. Alright. Definitely glad we took the mulligan road here. I don't think red-black would go well if we ended up trying to... or green-black. Either snake or... Oh, sneaking in at the last minute, Sideboard. I see how you are. I really want to save the Essence Scatter for a Vine Mare if they have one. Leaving Aronis in play kind of sucks and not using our mana, but I think I have to let it resolve. Hopefully they just try to slam Vine Mare here. I think I got a counter Steel Leaf. Much as I don't want to leave that in play. It was a good test spell. If our opponent is sitting on Vine Mare. Wow. I think given the fact that our opponent's going out of their way to hold up mana, I'm just supposed to go aggro and try to kill them here. Vine Mare is worse, but as we saw against Mono Green, whatever. Sky Sovereign. Wow. So they get to well, yeah, they get to kill one of our guys. All right. Canyon Slough being our land is a little rough. What? Land here was pretty perfect. Contempt this. Do I attack with one Whirler here or both? Because our opponent can crack us back for... with Ronus for quite a bit of damage here. I guess I'm only supposed to attack with the one Siphoner. Doesn't matter if we counter this Siphoner, they can bring it right back. So am I supposed to take this hit, or... This is kind of rough. Feels bad, but I think I'm supposed to block or I lose this race. Five, 1, 2. Alright. Well, our opponent scooped to a card they probably shouldn't have scooped to. They still had some amount of play there, depending on what their draw was. Alright, so they're the green-black list with Sky Sovereign in the list. I think I've seen one or two like that. Alright, so probably want the Abrades. We want the Aetherborns for this style of matchup. They're probably bringing in Vine Mare, so probably want Gearhulk. I think on the draw we want to get these Siphoners out of the deck. Probably Bloodfast in. Cut a Champion of Wits. And... what is the last cut here? Yeah, we got a little bit lucky there at the end, sideboard. Need to cut one more card here. Spray out. Maybe one. I still like to have some amount of answers to Elf on the draw. Wow. I don't think I can keep the 6-land magma or the 6-land Abrade hand. Sand isn't a lot better, but we'll keep it. Yeah, I agree. I had a ton of outs there, especially seeing 2 cards a turn. Well, them not having the elf on the shelf on turn 1 is pretty nice. So. Scrounger on 2. I know it's going to come back later, but I'm just going to get rid of this now, buy us a little bit of time. Yep, Steel Leaf Champion. I think we can do about him right now. Champion of Wits, that's an interesting one. Um... Yeah, I think that's a card worth consideration. These Grixis lists have a lot of different things you can do with them. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to champion here or am I supposed to Etherborn here. The problem with champion is there isn't a whole lot of cards we actually want to discard right now. Like, we want our 4th and 5th land drops for Scarab God. I think I'm just supposed to Etherborn here. Doesn't deal with Steel Leaf, but it deals with a lot of their other cards. Ronos. Yeah, except when they have an indestructible god protecting it. I guess we go Etherborn here. Champion. Yeah, now that we actually have a card that we'd consider discarding. Canyon, Slough, and a Braid. Get rid of the Slough. What does a Braid even do here? Is a Braid the other card we pitch? I think we get rid of the Etherborn. Hold up the Abrade here. Not hold up the Abrade, keep the Abrade. I think that does more against something like Sky Sovereign. Jeez. They are not messing around this game. Normally I would agree with you, but we need answers to Sky Sovereign. They showed that to us game 1. Well, I mean... We're definitely playing Scarab God, but then the question becomes... I think I gotta hold back Etherborn to block Ronis this turn. Probably just swing everything. Agreed, but I don't think we're gonna get to untap with Scarab God. Block on Ronis, block on one of these. We're just too far behind, they're big idiots. Especially when they have another Steel Leaf, yeah. Just too far behind. Happens sometimes, especially when you're on the draw. Somehow the Abrades come out, get the spray back in. Bloodfast is a little too slow on the... I think I'd rather get these Siphoners going on the play. Yeah, I have 2 champions and 2 whirlers in. Well, this is a hand if we draw mana. Alright, cross our fingers and start We Hope hitting land drops. Jeez. Here's fine, Mare. Wow. We're gonna have a tough time racing that. God. No, we're not. uh... Yeah, I don't think they're gonna give us one, though, is the problem. Yep, Ruinous Crew, the Sky Sovereign, now we have no chance of winning this. In fact, we're just dead on board. The problem... The problem with the Contempt line sideboard is, first off, if we make no plays, we're losing the race. If we make no plays, we lose the race. Because the 2 Vine Mares put us to 4, we can only put them to 6, and then we're dead on the next crack. So they don't have to make any plays if I don't tap out. The second problem is if their last card is Blossoming Defense, then it doesn't matter. So the Liliana play, trying to bait them to attack it and hope they don't have to draw a creature to crew Sky Sovereign. Yeah. That's why I had the 4 Braids in the second game. Obviously, we only had 2 in this game, and then they draw the Sky Sovereign in this game. So... I mean, obviously 2 and 3, the getting run over by red-black was just difficult. Match 1. Game 2, the mono blue artifacts deck. Sideboard, a lot of it depends on the meta. Like, I think I understand why Todd went away from this build towards more of the control build with the hours and stuff in the sideboard. I honestly think, like, there are certain games where the Siphoners obviously won us a few games when they were able to chain them into... It does, but okay. Let's look at Todd's list for a minute. It does, but at the same time, Todd also has Doomfalls in his list, and if you look in his sideboard, Eldest Reborn and Hour of Devastation, both, like, we can deal with the early drops, and if you can land, like, Eldest Reborn and Doomfall when they just have Vine Mare in play, like, there was plenty of opportunities there where landing the Eldest Reborn or landing a Doomfall when they just had Vine Mare in play would have been just like, okay, check your Vine Mare, and then our Nicol Bolas can kill you. So I understand why Todd went away from the mid-range lists in the current format. So... Yeah, I also think people are starting to. How do I put this? I think people are starting to stop toying around with the fun decks, and they're starting to get back towards playing with red black, the more serious Grixis takes, the mono red decks, the mono green decks, and the fact that Vine Mare is now like the standard tech in the green decks. I think turn this from a probably favorable matchup into, I would say, they're probably favored post board, depending on their configuration of Vine Mares and Carnage Tyrants. Oh no, I'm not saying your list is bad, and I'm a horrible mid-range player for whatever that's worth. I tend to go 2-3, 3-2 at best with mid-range decks. But I think I think the meta has established that red black and green black, as well as I think the meta has established red black, green black, and mono red are the kingpins, and Grixis kind of has to evolve to understand that it has to beat those decks. That's why I think Todd's list with the Doomfalls and the Eldest Reborn and the Hours of Devastation might be a good place to start in terms of solving the green-black matchup. And then, as far as mono red or red black, I think is a reasonable matchup if you have the right draw. My draw game one was like Essence Scatter and then a couple 4 and 5 drops, and I just got ran over by like Bomat Courier into Chandra, even though I answered their next couple of plays. And then, well, I played Bolus on a turn. They were pretty clearly representing Unlicensed Disintegration instead of holding up Vraska's Contempt, and they ended up having the Disintegration into Chandra, and it was just like, okay, Snowball, I'm dead. So, Grixis is a lot about making the right plays at the right times and having the right build. So, like, I'm not. If I were to like take a hybridization of yours and Todd's lists, I think I would play a main deck similar to this, because this is similar to. If you look at the sideboard, this is very similar to the changes that the blue-black mid-range deck list underwent whenever red, black, and mono red became the top decks. They pared down the Glint Sleeve Siphoners, and the Siphoners got moved to the sideboard, and then they only left like Champion of Wits or the Aetherborn in the main deck because it doesn't die to Chain Whirler. So, and another thing he emphasized, I don't know, Whirler seemed fine to me. I don't know what the right configuration is. I'm just saying I think I would go down on the Glint Sleeve Siphoners and either move them to the sideboard or not have them in the deck at all. And Whirler is a matter of, do you value beating red in the white-black decks, or do you value beating the green-black decks with having like Doomfalls and stuff in your deck? So that's kind of a, I don't know. The problem is Whirler gets worse without Siphoner, so. But Todd went away from the energy package pretty early on, so I don't know. I just know that I want the Siphoners on the play in a lot of matchups, but I don't want them on the draw in a lot of these aggressive matchups. Like, it puts you too far behind against red, puts you too far behind against green, and the only matchups you truly want it is the control decks, which are very few and far between, and I don't know. Whirler and Champion both seem reasonable to me as early defensive threats, but against the decks that, like against the red decks, how often are they staying in play? I guess that's about where I leave my opinion of the deck off. So, I just know by the sample size I had. You have a much larger sample size with your deck than I have with it. So I just think that the meta is evolving, and it seems like honestly, I really like commit and consign to oblivion. There were a lot of situations where we were able to get our opponent hellbent holding 2 or 3 cards. So I personally like consign to oblivion over commit to memory, because I think this deck already has too many 4 mana plus plays. So I think the consign to oblivion was better, because you need more early plays. I've never cast memory. Well, I've cast memory a few times in Esper, but it's unless it's like Gearhulk flashback memory at the end their end step, it feels really bad. Whereas Oblivion feels like it's relevant in a lot of these matchups. So I would say Oblivion over commit. Like that would make if you were to add the commit to or the even sometimes, yeah, that sometimes. But like if you were to add consigned Oblivion to this list, there'd be so many 1 mana and 2 mana plays in this list that I would have a hard time feeling this deck gets behind to the point when you, as long as you hit your land drops, you can hit your 4 and 5 drops on a much clearer board. But that's just my opinion. Sideboard, I mean, you've had far more testing with your list than I have, but just from the small sample size we had outside of that mono blue artifacts list, which is, you really should take a look at the new mono blue artifact lists. They're insane right now. I got absolutely pummeled by Psy. Like the list we played against had multiple copies of commit to memory and multiple copies of Psy, and just went like literally stabilized and then started chaining. Maybe I could see a couple copies over these Abrades in a couple of the main deck Abrades, because I think 4 toughness is a rather important thing, especially against the mono green decks. Like being able to kill Steel Leaf Champion. Oh yeah. Yeah, cut seems reasonable. Like maybe as a 2 of instead of these Abrades. But anyways, guys, my mind is fried. That's why I don't like playing these standard mid-range decks. My mind just goes kaplooey. Sideboard, do you have any other questions before I go here? Appreciate you hanging out here at the end. Once again, this was Sideboard's list. Or the list we were playing was Sideboard's list. I do like some of the things in it. Hey, no problem. Glad you could hang out for a little bit. Hope we're able to tune your list to where it's a monster again. So, all right. We'll catch everybody later. I'll probably be back with yes, Jankovic, still the same stream. Unfortunately, I'm getting ready to sign off here because my brain's fried and I have a bunch of stuff I need to go take care of. So, I will catch everybody later. Thanks to Sideboard, Jan, Space Marine, and everybody else that was hanging out watching the deck. So, hope to catch everybody later. Yeah, it was almost 3 hours. 2 hours and 45 minutes is the current uptime. So, but Grixis and Standard usually is a long grind. So, alright, catch everybody later.